perfect opportunity to choose a university. Enhance your capacity to build a nation. Guyana Online Academy of Learning. We'd love to give you a start. 20,000 scholarships we're offering, so you can do your part. We provide the platform, all you do is choose. You can use the comfort of your living room. The programs are completely online for you. Let's build a nation, yeah. Guyana Online Academy of Learning. We've got a nation's future at heart.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Hello, you're tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5. I'm Kayla King, and this is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, these are the stories we are tracking. Locals will have government's full support to be competitive in oil sector, says President Ali. ExxonMobil exposed by Stabroek Block partner, says gas leak interrupted Liza Destiny's production. Massive corruption at Guy Oil. Director, finance controller sent home. Investigations underway in $300 million army fuel. And man who married twice to no fate today. Do stay tuned. And now for the news in detail. Though several local businesses may be hamstrung by varying factors that hinder their competitiveness in the oil sector, President Irfan Ali has given all assurances that Guinea's entrants will have the support they need to be successful when going up against foreign entities. Ali gave this guarantee during a press briefing yesterday morning at State House. As he made his presentation on the government's plans for economic growth, the president disclosed his intention to have oil companies use local services once they are deemed as competitive. With this in mind, Kaieteur Radio informed the head of state that several local businesses have been struggling to break into the industry and maintain competitive rates, especially when they are made to go head to head with seasoned foreign companies that enjoy concessions galore. Now let's tell you, Chief Executive Officer of Hess Corporation, John Hess, yesterday spilled the proverbial beans on the Stabroek Block operations when he disclosed that on April 11th last, oil production was curtailed for 7 days after a gas leak was detected in the flash gas compressor's discharged silencer on board the FPSO vessel. Alluded to problems encountered but did not disclose that it was in fact a dangerous gas leak that had curtailed the operations briefly. Hess gave the disclosure during the first quarter earnings call held for his company's sharehold. Meanwhile, head of state President Irfan Ali, has ordered that a director at the state-owned Guyana Oil Company, Akani Blair, and the company's chief finance controller Sean Prasad be sent home, pending investigations by the police and Auditor General's office into, among other things, massive corruption at the agency. The investigations relate to a recently unearthed transaction with a private fuel dealer involving some $3.4 million in addition to another $300 million transaction involving fuel for the Guyana Defense Force. Additionally, the head of state said the entity is being investigated in relation to companies collecting fuel from the terminal and that those companies had no right to be there collecting fuel in other agencies' names. The man who married twice will know his fate today when the matter is called in the Georgetown Magistrates Court for sentencing. The defendant, Michael Taylor, 38, an airport ramp attendant of Lot 1 Soosdijk, East Bank, Demerara, matter is being tried by Magistrate Rondell Weaver. Magistrate Weaver had ruled that the prosecution provided enough evidence which shows that Taylor did in fact commit bigamy. As such, the magistrate found Taylor guilty of the offense. The matter was then adjourned to today's date for sentencing to be handed down. Taylor was out on $50,000 bail pending the outcome of the trial. However, his bail was revoked after he was guilty, and he was remanded to prison until sentencing. It is now 12 hours 14. Coming up after the break is laborer falls to death from Regent Street building. Man kills self after stabbing lover to neck. Fire destroys Sharon's Mall. And Agri Ministry signs close to $400 million in contracts to enhance performance of agencies. Stay tuned to stay informed. Welcome back. A Sisters Village, West Bank, Demerara man was pronounced dead yesterday after he fell from a 6-story building situated at 137 Regent Street, Georgetown, which is currently under construction. Lloyd Feroz, also known as Tony, was employed by Peter Ramdu, a foreman of Skull City, Potentia, West Bank, Demerara, as a laborer. Ramdu was contracted by Glenn Lal, publisher and owner of the National Media and Publishing Company Limited, to construct the building. In a release, police noted that the foreman had revealed that around 13:25 hours, Feroz was seen mixing cement on the ground floor. Upon completion, he reportedly walked up to the 4th floor of the building, which is presently under construction and has an open space with a stairway in the center. Ramdu told police that he heard a crashing sound and on checking saw that Feroz had fallen to the ground from the 4th floor, hitting his head and other body parts. In addition to a police investigation that was launched, the Ministry of Labor last evening announced that the work site has been closed so its personnel can carry out an investigation. Let's tell you, a 27-year-old housewife is currently hospitalized at the New Amsterdam Hospital in a serious but stable condition after a man with whom she shared a turbulent relationship stabbed her to the neck. The attack occurred during an argument the two had along the Johanna South Blackbush Polder Road. Hospitalized is Kumani Ramutar, called Ashanti, of Johanna South Blackbush Polder, Quarantine, Berbice, while her attacker, who reportedly ingested poison and succumbed, has been identified as Troy Sandy, a 35-year-old hire car driver of Lot 143, Mibikuri, South Blackbush Polder, Quarantine, Berbice. Firefighters last evening had a difficult time controlling a raging fire at the Sharon's Mall, situated at the junction of King and Charlotte Streets, Georgetown. Based on information gathered at the scene, the fire soon after it was detected quickly swept through the top 2 floors of the 4-story building. Sharon's Mall is a building that rents space to lawyers and other business owners. Up to press time, no one was able to confirm the estimated loss, but it is believed to be several millions. This publication understands that a small fire was detected and persons who were still in the building were quickly evacuated. Now let's tell you, the Ministry of Agriculture yesterday inked close to $400 million in contracts to enhance workers, the services of its agencies, and improve the lives of citizens across the country. During a simple signing exercise, a total of 12 contracts were signed between 5 agencies under the ministry's umbrella and 7 companies for the supply of machinery, procurement of pumps, as well as the construction of bridges in different parts of the country. Contracts were also signed for the provision of all-terrain vehicles, refrigerated trucks, and infrastructural upgrades to Satya Dio Sa Aquaculture Station. It is now 12 hours 18. Coming to you at this time is your COVID-19 update. Coronavirus cases worldwide, according to Worldometer, are now at 150.7 million, whereas deaths are 3.1 million, and in the case of recoveries, 128.1 million. The Ministry of Health yesterday reported that 2 more persons have tested positive for the novel coronavirus, have died. Their deaths have now brought the COVID-19 death toll to 293. The latest fatalities are 2 men, a 73-year-old from Region 4 and a 64-year-old from Region 5. According to the ministry, both men died on Tuesday while receiving treatment at a medical facility. The ministry also recorded 137 new COVID-19 cases, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 12,963. The dashboard also shows that 13 patients are in the COVID-19 intensive care unit, 82 are in institutional isolation, 1,505 in home isolation, and 16 are quarantined institutionally. To date, 11,070 recoveries have been recorded. That just about brings us to the end of our news at noon, but before we wrap things up, let's head over to page 7, which is dedicated to being blunt. Alarming it was a year ago when a person passed away due to COVID-19 complications. But times have changed. Earlier this week, the Health Ministry recorded in a single day 5 COVID-19 deaths. But life went on as per norm for most. In fact, some people haven't been bothered enough to take precautions to help safeguard themselves and loved ones. It would seem that COVID-19 has come to show us just how indifferent we are as human beings. Lives are being lost daily, but yet we just smile and look the other way. It is indeed a sad state of affairs that indifference has penetrated just about every sect of our society. That just about brings us to the end of our news at noon. I am Kayla King. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Customers of Central Georgetown, please be advised that you will experience a disruption in water service on Friday, April 30th from 13 hours or 1 p.m. This is expected to last for approximately 7 to 8 hours. This is to facilitate the interconnection of a transmission main as GWI supports the Ministry of Public Works in its ongoing Mandela Avenue, Sheriff Street roadworks. GWI is encouraging you to store water in light of the disruption of water service on Friday, April 30th, 2021. GWI apologizes for the inconvenience caused as it aims to complete these works within the swiftest possible time. In the event of any unforeseen delays, GWI will further update you via its social media pages and the media.
Coming up next is a short commentary from the publisher of Kaieteur News, Dr. Glenn Lau.
Fools multiply when wise people are silent.